The trial of Alex Murdaugh is one of the most significant legal events of the 21st century. The case has involved murder, financial crimes, and family secrets, all unfolding in a way that has left millions captivated. Today, we'll explore the timeline of events leading up to the trial, the major points of the case, and the legacy of the Murdaugh family that was shaken to its core. If you're interested in high-profile legal cases, be sure to subscribe for more comprehensive updates and insights. The Murdaugh family, for generations, held unmatched influence in South Carolina's Lowcountry. The family's legal dynasty began in 1920, and 3 generations of Murdaugh men served as solicitors in the region, controlling the local legal system. This position gave the Murdaughs access to power and resources, building them a significant fortune through their family-run law firm. The community viewed the Murdaughs as untouchable. But beneath the surface, cracks began to appear, starting with Alex Murdaugh, who was next in line to inherit the family's legacy. One of the key events that shattered the public perception of the Murdaugh family occurred in February 2019. Paul Murdaugh, Alex's younger son, was involved in a tragic boat crash that killed 19-year-old Mallory Beach. Paul, allegedly intoxicated, was driving the boat when it struck a bridge. The accident not only claimed Mallory's life, but also exposed how Paul avoided legal consequences, even after his blood alcohol level was found to be 3 times over the legal limit. Witnesses claimed that Paul had been acting recklessly, but despite the evidence, the Murdaugh family's influence shielded him from immediate consequences, raising questions about how much power the family wielded over local law enforcement and the courts. On June 7, 2021, Alex Murdaugh called 911 to report that his wife, Maggie, and son, Paul, had been found shot to death at the family's estate. This horrifying discovery sent shockwaves through the small community and quickly became national news. As investigators worked to find out what had happened, 2 theories gained traction: that the murders were connected to the Mallory Beach case, or that something more personal was at play. The double homicide added to the growing suspicions surrounding the Murdaugh family and raised questions about what was really happening behind closed doors. The situation grew even more complex in September 2021, when Alex Murdaugh himself became the subject of another shocking incident. Alex claimed he had been shot on the side of a rural road while changing a tire. However, the story soon unraveled, revealing that Alex had orchestrated the entire incident. He had hired Curtis Smith, a distant relative, to shoot him in an attempt to stage his own death. The motive was to secure a $10 million insurance payout for his surviving son, Buster. The failed attempt further damaged Alex's credibility and added another bizarre twist to the already complex case. As investigators looked deeper into Alex Murdaugh's life, they uncovered a series of financial crimes. Over several years, Alex had embezzled millions from his family law firm, as well as from clients. He used the money to fund his lavish lifestyle, hiding the theft from nearly everyone around him. One of the most egregious cases involved the family's longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, who died under mysterious circumstances in 2018 after a fall at the Murdaugh estate. Instead of securing the insurance settlement for her sons, Alex allegedly pocketed the $4.3 million settlement himself. These financial crimes added another layer of criminal activity to the Murdaugh family's unraveling. As the full extent of Alex Murdaugh's crimes came to light, the world waited to see how the legal system would handle someone with such power and influence. Prosecutors began building their case, detailing not only the financial crimes, but also the possible connections to the murders of Maggie and Paul. The defense sought to paint Alex as a man under immense pressure, trying to maintain his family's reputation while struggling with personal demons. But the evidence against him was mounting, and it was clear that this trial would be unlike anything South Carolina had seen before. When the trial of Alex Murdaugh began in late 2023, the eyes of the nation were focused on the courtroom. The charges against Alex included not only financial fraud and obstruction of justice, but also the possible link to the murders of his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. Prosecutors presented evidence of the financial crimes, detailing how Alex had stolen millions of dollars from his clients and law firm. These actions, they argued, were a key motive for the murders. They claimed that Alex, under immense financial pressure and fearing exposure, might have killed his wife and son to shift the focus away from his crimes and gain sympathy from the public. Witness after witness took the stand, many of them former colleagues, clients, and friends who had trusted Alex with their money and their lives. Prosecutors brought forward documents, bank statements, and testimonies that painted a picture of a man who had lost control, desperately trying to hide the fact that he was on the verge of financial ruin. The evidence of the financial crimes was overwhelming, but the question that remained was whether Alex Murdaugh was also guilty of the double murder. The defense team worked hard to shift the narrative. They argued that Alex was a man spiraling out of control due to his long-term addiction to opioids, which had clouded his judgment and led to his involvement in financial fraud. They acknowledged the embezzlement and deceit but claimed that Alex was not a murderer. According to the defense, the murders of Maggie and Paul were carried out by unknown assailants, possibly connected to the Mallory Beach case or other individuals who had a grudge against the family. They argued that Alex had no reason to harm his wife and son, who were the closest people to him. One of the defense's main strategies was to emphasize the lack of direct evidence linking Alex to the murders. They questioned the prosecution's timeline, pointing out inconsistencies in the witness testimonies and casting doubt on the reliability of the forensic evidence. Alex's lawyers also highlighted his emotional reaction when he found the bodies, portraying him as a devastated father and husband rather than a cold-blooded killer. As the trial progressed, some of the most dramatic moments came from the witness stand. Members of the community, former law enforcement officials, and even family members gave testimonies that both supported and contradicted Alex's version of events. One of the most compelling witnesses was Curtis Smith, the man Alex allegedly hired to shoot him in the staged suicide attempt. Curtis testified about the bizarre details of their encounter, claiming that Alex had been desperate and irrational when he asked for the hit, but also denying any involvement in the murders of Maggie and Paul. Another key moment came when investigators revealed the digital evidence gathered from cell phone records and vehicle data. The prosecution presented a timeline based on these records, which placed Alex near the crime scene at the time of the murders. They used GPS data from his car and cell phone records to argue that Alex's account of his whereabouts did not match the evidence. This testimony was crucial in undermining the defense's argument that Alex had an airtight alibi. After weeks of intense testimony and legal arguments, the jury was left with the difficult task of deciding Alex Murdaugh's fate. The financial crimes were clear-cut. Alex's own admissions and the mountain of evidence left little room for doubt. However, the murder charges were far more complex. The jury had to consider not only the forensic and digital evidence, but also the emotional testimonies from those who knew Alex best. In the end, the jury found Alex Murdaugh guilty of multiple charges, including financial fraud and obstruction of justice. But the most shocking moment came when they also delivered a guilty verdict for the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. The decision sent shockwaves across the legal community, with many experts surprised by the jury's conclusion, given the circumstantial nature of some of the evidence. Alex Murdaugh was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, marking the end of a dramatic fall from grace for one of South Carolina's most powerful families. The repercussions of the Murdaugh trial continued to be felt throughout the community. The legal and political influence the family once held has crumbled, and the Murdaugh name, once synonymous with power and prestige, is now tarnished beyond repair. The law firm founded by the Murdaughs has rebranded in an effort to distance itself from the scandal, but the damage to its reputation remains. Moreover, the investigation into other deaths linked to the Murdaugh family, including that of Gloria Satterfield and the mysterious 2015 death of Stephen Smith, has been reopened. Stephen Smith, a 19-year-old found dead in the middle of a road under suspicious circumstances, had long been rumored to have connections to the Murdaughs, though no formal charges were ever brought. With the fall of Alex Murdaugh, these old cases are now being scrutinized with renewed vigor as the community seeks justice for the long-buried truths surrounding these tragedies. The trial of Alex Murdaugh has been a pivotal moment in modern legal history. It exposed the deep-seated corruption and influence that can come with wealth and power, especially in small communities. It also highlighted the lengths to which individuals will go to protect themselves when their backs are against the wall. For many, the case serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the devastating impact it can have on those who come into its orbit. As the case continues to unfold, with new revelations and legal battles on the horizon, one thing remains clear: the Murdaugh family's story is far from over. The trial may have reached its conclusion, but the aftermath will be felt for years to come, not only in South Carolina but across the nation. The justice system will be under a microscope as it attempts to rectify the mistakes of the past and bring closure to the many victims affected by the Murdaugh family's actions. The Murdaugh trial has captivated the world, and its impact will be felt for generations. With a guilty verdict and life sentence handed down, Alex Murdaugh now faces the consequences of his actions. But as investigations continue into other mysterious deaths and financial crimes linked to the family, the story is far from over. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the latest developments in this case and other high-profile legal battles.